Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We've got an update with the Clayton Echard fake paternity scandal. We're calling it a fake paternity scandal now because we originally called it a paternity scandal. Who's the dad? Now it's more of, was she ever pregnant? And without seeing any proof that holds up in court, we're going to go with no, in which case we believe it was either faked or some giant misunderstanding we don't know about. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. Now, I always say this, you can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? So while we normally make very fun comedy videos on the channel doing commentary, we've also really developed a niche here for entertainment news as far as actual journalism is concerned. You have to wonder, how is this important to people out there? Well, the person who may be perpetuating these hoaxes, these conspiracies, a con accused of extortion on multiple occasions, should be someone who's handled in the court system. And it seems as though before this case, she was getting away with all of these things. So while it might not be the journalism that solves the war in Ukraine, it might not be the journalism that gets us all universal health care or uncovers some massive conspiracy, it is very important to the people involved. It is the number one story to the select people involved. So we're going to make sure we continue to handle it with as much delicate nature as possible. But first, we have a story reported in the Chengdu Giant Panda Breeding Research Center that some pandas are faking pregnancies in order to have a pampered life. After showing prenatal signs, the mothers-to-be are moved into single rooms with air conditioning and around-the-clock care. They also receive more buns, fruit, and bamboo, so some clever pandas have used this to their advantage to improve their quality of life. See, look, it's not a rare thing that people will use whatever tools they can to get a favorable outcome, but we do have laws in society, and when the things that you do to get a favorable outcome, namely, I don't know, better press, sympathy from others, I don't know what the end goal might be, it can have collateral damage to others, in this case being the Mikes, the Gregs, the Claytons, the Andrews, the Matts, those types of people. So the buck stops here as far as Clayton's lawyers are concerned. There was an evidentiary hearing set up for February 27th, 2024 at 4 p.m. It was only supposed to be 45 minutes long. Oh boy, that wasn't flying with Clayton's lawyer. I mean, we just started partying. Why put an early curfew on it is kind of what his motion is about to say. So there's a status conference set for February 21st at 10:30 a.m. This will be very interesting. This status conference will be a chance for Jane Doe's lawyer to meet with Clayton Echard's lawyer, and they can get together and say, hey, can we get some more time here to really flesh this out? It's not unreasonable that Clayton's side wants 2 hours. I mean, think about it. What if it's only 45 minutes and then we have another issue and then another issue? That 45 minutes can quickly spiral into 10, 20 hours. I mean, how much legal time and bandwidth has been spent on this woman in the last 10 years? How many hours of phone calls and this and that? So I don't think it's, while the court system is already probably maxed out, I don't think it's unfair to request 2 hours. So let's go to what Greg Woodnick from Woodnick Law is looking for. They're calling him Zaddy Greg online. There is a sort of legal crush that some are having on the pros of Clayton's legal team here. I guess just the way they dot their I's and cross their T's is leaving women and possibly men out there perplexed with legal, dare we say, boners, legal boners. Expedite a judicial hard-on may again, and that's not even a gendered term. Women can have lady boners, male boners. It's more of a metaphor for seeing somebody really enter their flow state, as it were. All right, in the matter of Jane Doe petitioner and Clayton Echard respondent, expedited motion to continue trial and motion for additional trial time. Yeah, you're never on the right side of the story here when the other side wants more time. It's like, oh no, we have so much we need to say. We have so much, and by the way, Jane Doe hasn't provided any discovery or any proof of pregnancy that would hold up in court here, other than what she says, I peed on a stick. What do you want from me? Come on. Doesn't that work? 25 weeks later. Whereas there's plenty of evidence that there is possible, if not blatant, fraud due to manipulation of medical records that are not yours. And we have yet to really see any consequences for that, any consequences for possible perjury. Any consequences for failure to attend depositions? I tell you what, you don't need to hear it from me. Let's hear it from Zaddy Gregg. Respondent Clayton Eckert, by and through counsel undersigned and pursuant to Rule 34, hereby requests that this court continue the evidentiary hearing on sanctions and attorney's fees currently set for February 27th at 4 p.m. Respondent also requests that this court allow an additional 75 minutes for this hearing for a total of 2 hours. This motion is expedited as trial is currently scheduled for the end of February, and petitioner has failed to provide any disclosure and has engaged in what appears to be concerted efforts to undermine the judicial process. By the way, separate from this hearing in Maricopa County, I will be in Maricopa County end of March to headline a stand-up show. I would love it if anyone in the area would like to come. Bring all of your friends. It will be a fun time. We can go out and have drinks after. It could be a real celebratory moment. I will be contacting local sheriffs to let them know I'm in town in the off chance that any police are called about me. I'll let them know. Also, that's what I did in Nashville. I had to say, you know what? I've moved here just in case anyone wants to call and say I'm harassing them. Before you take the time out to show up to my house, here's who I am. Here's my phone number. That's something I've had to do with my life due to the litigious Lexi that we have been known to love here, Miss Dodo Bird herself. Now, don't mind me. I may have the flu. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm feeling under the weather, so I'm going to just take this nice and slow if you guys don't mind. You might. I hate that sound when you're chewing on something, but trust me, I'm coughing if I don't chew on this. So here we go. Chew on this. Let's get into it. As repeatedly stated in respondents' prior filings, Janie Dodo Bird has wantonly and willfully failed to provide any Rule 49 disclosure, respond to any requests for production, and refuse to attend a properly noticed Rule 57 deposition. Petitioner has further refused to sign fetal death certificates or basic HIPAA releases related to any form of medical care she testified to receiving for her alleged high-risk pregnancy. Notwithstanding this conduct, respondent appeared at petitioner's noticed video deposition at her most recent counsel's office and fully participated last Friday. What he's saying is, Clayton's playing by the rules. Why isn't she? And again, people will say, why would she teleconference into the previous hearings and then show up to the actual deposition? She can't possibly be afraid of Clayton. My guess is when she responds to this, they'll somehow mention that she got death threats from some unhinged person online, and therefore she doesn't want to, whatever. That'll be her next play. Mark my words. The issues of sanctions and attorney's fees cannot be adequately adjudicated without disclosure and discovery from petitioner, including the opportunity for a respondent to depose petitioner. Again, petitioner video deposed respondent on February 2nd, Groundhog's Day, after intentionally failing to appear at her own properly noticed deposition. Additionally, the 45 minutes currently allocated for this hearing will not allow respondent to fully present his position on the issues. As and for his motion to continue trial, respondent states as follows. On August 1st, petitioner initiated the underlying action when she filed her petition to establish paternity, legal decision-making, parenting time, and child support, alleging that she was pregnant with respondent's twins after one night of oral sex. Respondent maintains that this alleged pregnancy was a hoax con, much like the previously litigated matters involving petitioner and other men similarly situated. Here, as with the prior matter, petitioner faked medical records as her supposed proof of pregnancy, the POP as we call it. This time, petitioner chose a television personality, Clayton, on which to perpetrate this fraud, and not only faked the pregnancy, but attempted to extort him to date her in exchange for an abortion of fictional twins. That's what's extortion. It's like, you could extort someone for money. You could extort someone for power. You could extort someone for, in today's world, money is not just what's printed on paper, right? Money is equity. It's power. It's having the ability to create this contract you have to abide by or else. Everything with Jane Doe is an or else. She has on a dozen occasions told me, delete all your videos or else I will do X, Y, and Z and make your life miserable. In some small ways, she has made my life miserable, but I've compartmentalized, in the love of my audience, in the Patreon, in the flock, and everybody else has expanded from that initial seed of hatred she put there and has expanded with love and joy. And I'm actually a stronger, healthier, happier person after this. So thank you so much, Jane Doe. Now, that's not to say I wouldn't put her on the hook for any emotional damage done to me. I'm not admitting that she hasn't done any damage. The damage has been done. I'm just saying, as a strong person, I have overcome all of or have begun the process. Although, if she ever wants to pay for my therapy bills, I would appreciate that. But I have done the best with this situation, and of course, never wanting to be in the news. Let's talk about the news, but we don't want to be in the news. Although, when she decided to sue me, she kind of changed that storyline. Clayton Echard, respondent, refused to date petitioner Janie Dodo Bird, who then continued to promote the false narrative that she was pregnant to the media in the court system, including during the subsequent, or as some call it, subsequent injunction against harassment proceeding, where she appeared on video in court wearing an ostensibly fake pregnant stomach and asked Judge Galketsis to allow her to show respondent that she was pregnant. Remember that? She said, "Judge, can I just show Clayton?" And the judge goes, "No." And she's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know. I thought I could show him." No, if you wanted to show him, you would have showed up in person. And of course, Jane Doe was standing at a working desk. She didn't have a seat. Can we GoFundMe and raise money for a pregnant lady to have a seat? Let me tell you something. My wife's 7 months pregnant. We're in the 3rd trimester. She sits down when she gets the chance. You know what I mean? She doesn't stand for an hour at a time. Why would someone stand for an hour at a time when they're pregnant? Well, maybe because when they sit, the pregnant stomach doesn't look right because it's fake, because it's a con. Maybe that's why. She then continued to contact the media, including the tabloid The Sun, Reddit, Medium.com, some podcasters named Dave Neal and Reality Steve, furthering her entirely fraudulent fake pregnancy narrative. Oh, Daddy Dave made it into the court documents. Oh, what an amazing time it is to live in this world where all of a sudden, from Bachelor Nation News to the court documents of Maricopa County, we did it, Ma! We did it! On August 21st, 2023, respondent filed his answer denying that petitioner could scientifically be pregnant with his twins after they engaged in only oral sex on May 20th, 2023. Or as I like to call it, the blowjob heard round Maricopa County. All right, petitioner seems to acknowledge that no sex occurred in her bevy of 500 emails and texts, which resulted in Judge Gil Ketsis granting an injunction against harassment against petitioner after a 2-day trial on the same. Oh boy, weren't those the good old days? Simpler times. Nearly 7 months have passed since petitioner initiated this action. By the way, her due date's tomorrow, during which no disclosure has been provided by petitioner, despite the requests made to her numerous counsels in accordance with Rule 49. Hey, also, she provided no disclosure in her suit against me, which of course she dismissed. But boy, it would have been nice to know, hey, what are you working with? You know what I mean? Calling the FBI on me, doing all these things. There's got to be a bill for when you make fraudulent calls. And I mean, what can you do? What can you do? Petitioner, she dismissed it. What can you do? She lost. Petitioner has willfully and wantonly failed to comply with Rule 49. Whenever I read wantonly, it makes me want to eat wonton soup. Is that just me? Does anyone else want some soup? Unless the parties agreed in writing on the court order. Otherwise, okay, so then it goes into the specifics. On January 17th, 2023, petitioner failed to appear at a properly notice deposition. We got that. Respondent is unable to fully and meaningfully present his argument, for which he should be awarded attorney's fees and sanctions, in a finding that the petition was filed in bad faith against petitioner without disclosure from petitioner. She seems to know that after the myriad of conversations had with petitioner's attorneys, and is flaunting her failure to provide the same. Flaunting her failure. Petitioners, that should be the name of her podcast. It's Flaunting Her Failure with Janie Dodo Bird. Petitioner's convenient claim and effort to get the case dismissed without full adjudication by now saying she is no longer pregnant does not indemnify her from providing Rule 49 disclosure or participating in discovery in accordance with the rules. As fully detailed in respondent's response objection to petitioner's motion for confidentiality and preliminary protective order. To date, Petitioner has provided no verifiable proof of pregnancy by respondent, the foundational basis of her original petition to establish if she did have a miscarriage, seemingly impossible as she could not have been pregnant from oral sex. It does not explain her under oath testimony with the judge Gail Ketsis, where she displays her pregnant stomach and confirms in her testimony that she is not only pregnant 24 weeks at the date of testimony, but under the care of multiple medical providers for her high-risk condition. And this is why Clayton hired a lawyer. This is why, guys, so that he could get it on record in the IAH injunction against harassment hearing that he won, that she was pregnant at 24 weeks. He got it off the text messages, he got it off the random harassments, and he put it in the record that he believes she committed perjury. What else is there to say? Simply said, petitioner's pregnancy was faked. The bump displayed in judge's courtroom was ostensibly purchased, as evidenced by petitioner clearly adjusting what appears to be a fake belly and guzzling a Monster energy drink. Curious for someone claiming to have a high-risk pregnancy. Her entire petition was predicated on either lies or delusions and mirrors prior litigation involving Miss Janie Dodo Bird and a growing list of other victims, at least 3 known men, including respondent. And again, then we have Matt and Andrew, who weren't in the court system, but also had similar issues in dealing with Missy JJ Bird. Dodo Bird, Janie Dodo Bird. Respondent has complied with all requests for disclosure and participated in a video deposition as required by the rules and requested by petitioner. Petitioner has provided none and continues to flout the rules of the court she invoked. Yeah, we forget she started this. There is good cause for continuance given the wholesale lack of disclosure and discovery by petitioner, as no disclosure has been received in relation to any claims made by petitioner, including the original claim of paternity on which this underlying matter was filed. Respondent has been left with an incomplete picture of the full extent to which petitioner's baseless accusations and myriad of filings have harmed him. As such, respondent requests that the hearing be continued to allow for disclosure to be received. Respondent has been patiently waiting for petitioner to provide any disclosure for over 7 months. The original claim on which this petition was filed was brought in bad faith over 7 months ago. No disclosure with which to verify it has been provided. Since then, petitioner has involved several attorneys and respondent has engaged in significant efforts to facilitate disclosure and discovery, but to no avail. As such, a continuance at this stage is appropriate and respondent has made diligent efforts to avoid having to file a motion to continue, including several discussions with petitioner's attorneys. Neither party will be prejudiced by a continuance. This continuance is sought in good faith and not for delay, as respondent needs access to critical disclosure in order to properly litigate. What he's saying is, we need her evidence to know how to fight it. As and for his motion for additional trial time, respondent states as follows. The evidentiary hearing before this court, currently scheduled for February 27th, is set for 45 minutes. This allows each party less than 25 minutes each to present their arguments for the issues of sanctions. Yeah, and you know when Janie Dodo Bird starts yapping, she's going to use up all this time like she did in the other case. It's like, no one's got the time. Quick answers, lady. We're in a rush. As this case has been ongoing since August, the issues for the hearing include, but are not limited to, petitioner's bad faith in bringing the underlying paternity action despite not being pregnant by respondent, as was impossible from blowies. The blowy is a new legal term we're using. It's just a short way to say oral sex. We're calling it blowies. Petitioner's factual contentions, assertions of pregnancy not supported by any verifiable evidence from the onset of this action. Petitioner's wholesale refusal to participate in discovery and disclosure. Petitioner's repeated filings being supported by unexisting laws. I mean, what goes through her head? This whole issue with this person threatened her mom or whatever that went down, even though they had the wrong address and the wrong phone number. She shared that. So again, I'm not giving her anything she hasn't already thought of. People say, Dave, don't give her ideas. These are her ideas. The idea that she might try to conceal this case, or I should say seal it from the public because of the risks involved. Maybe that's why she'll try to do it. Very hard to get a case sealed. We really don't know what the next play is by her. We'll cover some of that in a second, though. So Petitioner's appearance in a separate court proceeding and testimony that she was 24 weeks due on February 14th, treated for high-risk pregnancy by Dr. McCool and Dr. Higley. Can we get them on the line? Can someone from the law office of Dr. McCool or Dr. Higley speak with us? I know it'd be violating your HIPAA. Just drop. Hey, someone send over a dodo bird with a little information on whether or not she's actually being seen by you. Petitioner's unreasonable behavior, justifying respondent's request for his reasonable attorney's fees and costs, all other false and fraudulent behavior, revisiting in every filed motion pleading in this matter pursuant to Rule 26. Respondent's position on these issues cannot be adequately addressed with less than 25 minutes being allocated to each party during the upcoming hearing. Therefore, respondent respectfully requests that this court allow the parties an additional 75 minutes of trial time. I tell you what, motion for pizza. Bring some pizza. Let's do Diet Cokes and pizza. We'll get those extra napkins because sometimes it gets a little oily. You got to pat it down. You know how that pizza gets in Maricopa County. Let's just all settle this with a pizza party. Can we get out there? We'll all agree to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I'll tell you what, we'll even go crazy and have Hawaiian pizza. We could do ham and pineapple. We could do bacon and pineapple. I'm down for a party. I tell you what, when I'm in Arizona, we're doing a pizza party. That's on me. Well, I don't know if the pizza's on me. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the go. Yeah, you know what? Pizza's on me. That's right. For the first 20 people that show up. After that, you're on your own. Wherefore, respondent respectfully requests the court vacate the evidentiary hearing, reset the evidentiary hearing for 60 days to allow time for petitioner. Wow, they're looking for 2 more months. Set the evidentiary hearing for at least 2 hours. Order such further relief as the court deems just. Respectfully submitted this 6th day of February 2024. All right, they want 2 more months. Look, that's a good thing. Now, that's a good thing because, obviously you want to make sure you take the right time. Clayton signs it. You want to take the right time with the right information. Now, this could get denied, but honestly, here's Greg Woodnick's email to Corey Keith. Corey, it was nice seeing you on Friday, this being, I think, their deposition. Since we have not received any disclosure from Jane, the RFPs remain outstanding. The HIPAAs have not been executed, provided 3 times. The fetal death certificates, provided 2 times, also ostensibly not executed, and we still need to depose Jane after she failed to appear at her deposition. We are going to file a motion to continue and request additional trial time. I assume you agree, but let me know so I can note it in the MTC. Greg, hashtag, see you at the pizza party. All right, so there it is, folks. Now, what are the options for Dodo here? What are her options? I see it. There's 3 options. It really comes down to what the judge wants to do. If the judge says, no, we're doing this hearing on February 27th, if she denies the motion, then my thought is she's probably already made her mind up. But if she denies the motion, then either Jane Doe has to pay for his legal fees or he has to pay for her legal fees. Either way, I think the judge is going to decide who's on the hook. And it's going to be hard for Jane Doe to prove she doesn't have the money when she's kind of got the money. Now, she lives with her parents. Maybe the parents have the money and she doesn't. Maybe she's protected. She's supposed to be a lucrative CEO. Will she have, does she own any horse? Will Clayton be owning her horses? Is Clayton going to be, walking, down the street with his cowboy boots and owning some Jane Doe horses? I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. So, if the judge denies this motion, and again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here. I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. If Jane Doe denies the motion, if the judge denies the motion and it goes to trial, what's the judge going to decide? Where's the burden of proof? Clayton's provided depositions. He's worked with it. I'm no judge, but if I looked at this, I have to think Jane Doe is footing the bill. So either she foots the bill and never provides any information, or she starts cooperating, they end up doing a deposition, but in that case, she's either lying on her deposition, because we don't believe that she's been telling the truth, or she finally provides evidence from her doctors. It's like, why wouldn't you ever provide that in the first place, What a wild con it would be if she actually had proof of pregnancy and she was holding off on that until this moment. It looks like Greg Woodnick's legal, his whole team is banking on the fact that if she had any evidence, she would have provided it by now. And clearly she has no evidence. They're banking on the intuition that clearly she's making this up. My question is, how much is the legal fee? I'm guessing it's around $80,000 to $100,000 at this point. Can you tack on my billable hours? No, you can't. Of course, that's not my, I had a different lawyer that I have to pay. But my guess is it's a lot of money there. She's argued, well, you have a GoFundMe, which raised like 10 grand, which, by the way, thank you to everyone who donated to Clayton's GoFundMe and my GoFundMe. But to think that even, comes close to footing the bill. And by the way, that's her last attorney's argument. This attorney hasn't made that argument. But you have fans that are raising money for you. Who cares? Who cares where the money comes from? No one got mad at Jane Doe when we knew that the money that she's raising is coming from her mom. You know what I mean? Mommy, I need more money for my new legal fees. Here you go, honey. It's like when you go, Mom, I need $20. We're going on a field trip. Mom, I'm in a lawsuit. I faked a pregnancy. I know. I gave head. You didn't even bang the guy. He wouldn't let me, but I asked his D. And next thing you know, I had to go online and copy and paste. I paid all my, all of my, allowance went to the glue sticks I needed for the photoshopping of the ultrasound. It's a whole thing. Can you just cut me another check? I need $100 grand, please. All right. I mean, I would imagine that's how it might have gone. We don't know for sure. We'll have to see how it all plays out. I will be live on Patreon at noon Central Time. We're going to keep on talking about this. A very, very interesting update. You can join me there, patreon.com/Dave Neal. We'll be back right after this.